think I'll fight him for you?
Yes, I do.
So I've told you a bunch of superhero stories, but we've never seen two superheroes fight. So I'm going to tell you the story of Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice.
Son of Krypton versus Bat of Gotham.
Nobody cares about Clark Kent taking on the Batman.
So we meet Bruce Wayne, who's considered the world's greatest detective.
Take a bucket of piss and call it Granny's peach tea. I'm not gonna drink it.
You see, he watched his parents get murdered in cold blood.
Martha. Why did you say that name?
So he's dedicated his life to catching criminals.
So he's a policeman?
No, he runs around Gotham City beating up bad guys dressed up like a goddamn bat. You know, like normal billionaires do.
Yes, it's very cool.
Why a bat?
Well, he wouldn't look very intimidating dressed as a pigeon.
Not for lack of trying.
Well, he flies into Metropolis and calls this guy Jack to let him know it's okay to leave the building, since there's a spaceship destroying the city. And he's like, "Are you sure?" So either Bruce is a bad boss, or his entire staff are too dumb to flee to safety.
Let's go. The postman's is out of the building, so let's make it happen.
And for the next 2 minutes, we get to see how the all-new Jeep Renegade handles an apocalyptic terrain.
Not sold anywhere commercially in the world, even black market.
Well, during the fight with Zod, we see that Jack didn't want to take the stairs, and it was easier for him to just die.
Happen to like my job.
Well, Bruce sees that the building is taking some damage, so he tries to run and save Jack. He sadly isn't able to run the 4 city blocks as the building falls. But he's able to save this guy Wallace, who's pinned under a beam, and this girl who's too stupid to move over 1.5 feet. He wants to help the girl find her mom, but she was in this building with minor damage and is clearly dead. So now, he's got it out for Superman.
That son of a bitch brought the war to us.
A 1.5 years later, some people are trying to give this guy rocks, but some kids show up with a bed sheet, and he's like, "Screw your rocks, what's in the sheet?"
What's in the sheet?
A giant turd.
Ew.
Well, the guy takes a hammer to it, and inside is this green gem.
A radioactive xenomineral.
Lois Lane is in Africa, where she meets this photographer, Jimmy Olsen, before an interview with this general.
Are you a terrorist?
The guards randomly decide to break all of Jimmy's stuff and find a beeping thing. They immediately know he's CIA, and shoot him.
Hey, are you guys watching this?
The army is sending a drone strike, but this greasy guy starts shooting everyone, and his friends join in, and then they set the people on fire. The missile is fired, but Superman stops it. He then goes in to save Lois, who has amazing balance. So the guys burned all the bodies that they shot to make it look like Superman used his laser eyes on them.
No one noticed the bullet holes in the guys?
Nope. The committee just holds him accountable for what happened in the middle of a witness testimony without even deliberating.
This is how a democracy works. We talk to each other.
Back in Metropolis, Lois takes a bath with a bullet, and Clark comes home with a grocery bag full of flowers and joins her.
What's happening there, Alfred?
How best to describe it?
I know how to wrestle a pig.
Bruce goes to his technologically advanced cave, where we see that his butler also specializes in making armor and voice disguisers.
Butterbath, I'm a fairy butterbath.
He tells Bruce that he's being a dick because he feels inferior next to Superman. But it might be because he's not getting enough sleep. He keeps having nightmares and one-night stands.
Probably some old charity crone who's got a thing for nerds.
So the gem that was in the turd was actually from the Kryptonian ship, and it somehow weakens alien cells.
It is now aboard the White Portuguese being delivered to Lex Luthor.
This guy who's had about 14 Mountain Dews.
Ahoy, ahoy. And I am Senator. I'll learn.
Tells them that he wants to weaponize it, but first he needs access to the alien ship and Zod's dead body.
Why?
Well, he wants to steal his fingerprints. And, of course, the senator agrees, and Lex thanks him with a Jolly Rancher.
It's cherry.
So that guy Wallace apparently lost his family because of the Zod fight.
My wife walked out on me.
And he blames Superman. He climbs the statue that luckily is low enough for him to grab a hold of.
Wow, that is a good grip.
He spray paints it and then gets arrested for terrorist activities.
He thinks he's above the law.
Clark goes to Gotham to see that woman on the news, Kahina, but he finds out there's a vigilante that dresses up like a bat and he might be working for the police. He asks Perry if he can cover it, but instead he wants him to go to this gala.
Watch yourself. Don't let him take your lunch money.
Lois is heading to Washington, D.C. to find out more about her bath bullet.
It's called a bullet.
You shoot people with them.
So the Kentucky senator is going to keep the kryptonite from coming into the country because she knows that Lex wants to use it to kill Superman, and also because she thinks he's an annoying little turd.
Senator! No, what am I? What was I saying?
Next category, circles.
Because that is paradoxical.
That is silly.
Well, it seems that Bruce is invited to Lex's gala too, and he's bummed that he doesn't get to beat up people for answers. Instead, he has to break into his computer room. He's immediately caught and has to leave, where he bumps into Clark, and they make fun of each other without even knowing it.
What's your position the Bat Vigilante in Gotham?
Have a bad history with freaks dressed like clowns.
He goes back to get his bug, but Wonder Woman is just standing there staring at him. He chases her through the crowd and doesn't catch her because Lex had his valets trained by the coat check girl in Christmas Wedding Planner, because she's already getting into her car when he gets outside.
I bet with that dress, 9 out of 10 men would let you get away with anything.
Clark was onto Bruce's plan too, but he got distracted by a girl that was too stupid to run out of a burning building.
Because it's easier to just die.
Yep, and it's the Day of the Dead, so all the Mexicans thank him by touching him like zombies would.
One man decides who lives. How is that justice?
So the news wonders if Superman is good or bad because he saves people.
But if he's on the news, why doesn't anybody recognize him?
He's got glasses on, duh.
But the reporter saw her kiss Superman, then didn't think anything of it when she's in a relationship with Clark right after.
He's got glasses on.
Nerds.
But you'd think the world's greatest detective would figure it out. Or at least see that he's a good guy.
An alien, if he wanted to, could burn the whole place down.
So Bruce tracks Diana down and confronts her about the thingy she stole, but she already put it in his glove compartment, despite him grabbing her like an abusive boyfriend.
Don't touch me!
Don't go anywhere. I want to talk to you.
What you do, officer?
So he decrypts the drive and finds out that Lex is importing the kryptonite and he wants to steal it.
Stealing's not polite.
He plans on using it to kill Superman because he's responsible for thousands of deaths.
You mean from when aliens tried to take over the entire world and kill everybody?
Yeah, apparently the world's greatest detective hasn't figured out that he saved the entire planet at the expense of a few city blocks, because he's upset that Jack died.
I failed him in life. I won't fail him in death.
Well, Clark wants to find out what's happening with Batman, and it seems that anyone he arrests gets killed in jail.
Consider this mercy.
At the ship carrying the kryptonite, we see that June threatening his import was pointless, and that these guys brought way too many guns to pick up a rock. Batman chases him down.
You're not a killer.
But Superman pulls him over.
I'm not a cop.
Wow, you're feisty.
And then they threaten each other.
So a reporter and a detective don't have any questions for each other.
No. Clark flies off, and Bruce goes home to track the kryptonite with a transponder that happened to stay on the part of the truck that didn't get blown off.
The house treats luck like an insult.
Senator Finch calls him out to tell his side of the story of the desert conflict. And Kahina shows up to tell June the truth about what happened.
You won't pull a fly on me.
Lois finds out that the bullet came from LexCorp, and the attack was a trap for Superman to come. Wallace has also shown up to be a witness on how dangerous Superman can be. Superman shows up to the hearing, but Lex put a bomb in Wallace's chair, and he blows up the committee.
You are going to be on the hot seat in there, Junebug.
Superman feels like he could have done something, but the EMTs tell him to get out of the way so they can do their damn work.
I'm gonna need a little room to work.
So he just moves over a foot and a half and is sad there.
No need to be a pussy.
There was also an incident at LexCorp where Batman came in and stole the kryptonite.
A little hypocritical. What'd you say? The other night you took something that doesn't belong to you.
Bad habit.
Stealing's not polite.
Lex goes onto the Kryptonian ship, which apparently uses fingerprint ID and accesses the archives. He pulls Zod's dead body into the goo and then bleeds on him. The computer tells him what he's doing is wrong, and he's like, no, it's not. And the computer's like, okay, let's make a monster.
The desecration without name.
Bruce is making kryptonite weapons, and while they 3D print, he does some CrossFit. He also looks into Lex's files and finds out that Diana is super old.
Because he's the world's greatest detective.
No, because the file literally has all the information he needs right in front of him, including some files on some other metahumans.
We don't have to depend upon the kindness of monsters.
So Clark went hiking to clear his head because people think that he might have helped with the bombing.
But the guy who blew up blamed him for ruining his life.
But the press seems to think that they were actually friends who planned it all together, because conspiracy theories are so much easier to believe than actual evidence.
True!
Lois breaks into Wallace's apartment and sees that he just bought groceries, so he didn't even know he was going to die. She also finds out that the bomb was lined with lead, so Superman wouldn't have been able to see it. So at least someone's doing their job.
I've been a little busy.
Well, Clark gets to the mountaintop where his dad is there and tells him a Silence of the Lambs story to make him feel better.
They were slaughtering the spring lambs.
They were screaming.
But this one is about him and his dad killing horses.
You still wake up sometimes, don't you? You wake up in the dark and hear the screaming of the lambs.
I used to hear him wailing in my sleep.
You know, real uplifting stuff. Not to be outdone, Bruce goes to his parents' old house and talks to Alfred about his family history and that they started out as hunters.
Pelts, skins.
Does that mean he wants to hang Superman's head on his wall as a trophy?
I don't know, maybe.
You're psychotic.
So some guys kidnap Martha Kent, who has a job at a diner now. I guess she either sold all of their land, or the writer doesn't know how much farmers make, because it's actually quite a bit. So now that Batman has a Superman killing spear ready, he risks breaking it by stabbing the cement. He runs up to the roof and turns on the bat signal, because I guess he forgot that it calls him and not the superhero that lives across the river. He also has a new suit that has glowing eyes so he can hide in the dark better. Lex calls his goons to kidnap Lois, who all just got hired as janitors for this one heist. So they bring her to Lex, and he pushes her off the building to get Superman to show up. He tells him to go kill Batman, or he's gonna kill his mom.
So he threatens him to tell him where his mommy is.
If you kill me, Martha dies.
So he tortures him until he tells him where his mommy is.
No, and he doesn't try to figure it out either. He just flies to Gotham. We see that Martha was kidnapped by the same guys that got Lois, and she's in a warehouse where she's not even gagged. So we're expected to believe that she hasn't made a peep since she's been taken. Considering that he heard Lois was in danger not only right before this, but when she was on the other side of the planet, that's kind of hard to believe that he didn't know that she was in trouble.
Didn't Superman know when his mommy was in trouble when Zod attacked her?
Yep.
You think you can threaten my mother?
So all the Daily Planet reporters are watching the news coverage of the activity happening right outside their building, and Diana sees it too. She also gets an email with the photo she was looking for, and clips of other powered people.
The basis of our myths, gods among men upon our little blue planet here.
Superman meets up with Batman and tries to explain what's happening.
I'll take you in without breaking you, which is more than you deserve.
But he keeps moving forward and triggering traps. And it doesn't help that he keeps throwing him too. That tends to make people not want to listen.
I believe you.
Batman shoots him with a kryptonite gas bomb, and he just stays in the mist instead of moving a foot and a half away.
Good morning, Smallville.
Clark is vulnerable, so now Bruce talks about how brave he is.
You're not brave. Men are brave.
He beats him up until he gets his powers back.
Boy, do we have problems up here.
And then he gets scared.
Don't believe everything you hear.
Batman goes back for his gas gun, and Clark just flies right into it, making him vulnerable again.
I don't know how to lose.
You'll learn.
And again, he just lays there in the gas while Batman beats him up with a sink. He then throws him to the ground floor so he can fly him like a kite. He then gets his spear and cuts Superman's face.
Do you bleed?
Yes, I do.
And right before he gets stabbed, he tells Bruce to save Martha.
You mean he says save my mommy?
No.
Save Martha!
He actually says Martha.
Why did you say that name?
Because Bruce's mom was named Martha too.
What does that mean?
And Lois comes in to back his story up too.
It's his mother's name! It's his mother's name.
So even though he just acknowledged that Clark had parents,
I bet your parents taught you that you mean something.
the fact that their moms have the same name makes him not want to stab him anymore. But the guy holding Martha is really eager to kill her, and picks up his flamethrower 10 minutes early in anticipation.
It's time. I don't hear you. I'm gonna go ahead now.
So Batman promises Clark that his mom won't die, even though he doesn't even know where she is.
She with you?
I thought she was with you.
And since time is of the essence, he changes his clothes before he goes.
So he finally uses his detective skills and finds her.
No. Alfred tells him where she is.
Oh, there she is.
World's greatest detective.
The Russian guy just watches his men get beat up instead of killing her, because I guess he's having second thoughts about it?
That's the theory.
No.
Clark goes to confront Lex, and it seems that he wanted Superman to die so bad that he made a backup plan. I guess this is what a half-Kryptonian, half-human baby looks like, so I hope Lois and Clark use protection. Helicopters try to shoot Doomsday, but he has EMP farts and takes them out. The president wants to nuke them while they fight in space.
How far will he take his power?
Apparently the radiation makes Doomsday even stronger, and even gassier.
God have mercy on us all.
So because they tried 2 ways to kill it and failed, the government declares him unkillable.
It's unkillable.
But Batman thinks he can do it with his kryptonite weapons. He knows that the spear's in Gotham, so he lures the monster from the uninhabited island back to Gotham.
Why didn't he just go get it and come back?
If he takes it right to the spear, he can just stab it before it damages anything. So this plan backfires.
Oh, shit.
But Wonder Woman shows up to save Bruce at the last second.
I've killed things from other worlds before.
And it's a good thing she carries her uniform on her carry-on.
If she only had a carry-on, how did she carry her sword with her?
Well, she has had since World War I to get better at hiding it. Since she knows that they need it, Lois goes to get the spear that she threw into a flooded staircase.
Why'd she throw it in there?
Shut up. How am I supposed to know why she decided to clean up an abandoned warehouse?
Put down the spear!
So Doomsday is farting and keeping the superheroes at bay. So Superman and Wonder Woman tag team Doomsday and seem to be doing okay.
Well, what's Batman doing?
He's just watching.
The greatest gladiator match in the history of the world.
But then Clark hears Lois drowning and goes to save her. He goes down and gets the spear, and we can see that just holding it weakens him.
I can do it.
No.
Let me do it.
It has to be me. It has to be me.
Doomsday is able to use his energy farts to regrow limbs, so Clark stupidly grabs the spear and flies it in to stab him, instead of having Wonder Woman do it.
You know, it's true what they say about little boys, born with no natural inclination to share.
And because of this, both of them die.
I figured.
So the police find Lex taking a bath, and they apparently don't allow hair in jail.
So Lex Luthor was able to figure out who Batman was and who Superman was.
2 years growing, but it did not take much to push him over, actually. Little red notes, big bang, you let your family die!
Neither one of them thought anything of getting in these weird letters. And Batman's considered the world's greatest detective?
We know better now, don't we?
After all the hate that the city showed Superman, nobody has a problem taking the day off to mourn his loss.
The American conscience died.
Martha goes to comfort Lois, but ends up making her feel sadder when she lets her know that Clark was going to propose.
Some young lady from Metropolis will make you honest in your dreams, Alfred.
So Clark gets a half Scottish, half Amish funeral, and Superman gets a military burial. And no one makes the connection that two guys who look alike died on the same day.
They fought in his hometown. The spaceship landed in his family farm.
Again, all his friends are reporters. Martha finds out that the funeral was paid for by an anonymous donor. That certainly wasn't the billionaire standing under the tree a foot and a half away. Bruce tells Diana that they have to find others like them to fight because Lex told them that someone is coming.
And he's coming!
Why did you say they'll have to fight?
Just a feeling.
Well, apparently this guy was afraid of Superman, I guess, because he waited for him to die to leave. So they need to form the Justice League.
Isn't Superman like the leader of the Justice League? How can he be dead?
Don't be stupid.
The dead shall live. My slain shall rise again. The earth shall give birth to her dead.
Subtle.
I love it!
Did you subscribe?
You will.
And you need to get out of here before dark.